Please be seated. Well, what an entrance, eh? I don't think I've ever seen something so grand, so loud and so befitting of someone who was so passionate about trucks and played such a large part in his life, and I'm so glad that we could do that for him today. It was a trip all around past home and around Coffs on the back of his beloved truck. A lovely tribute to a wonderful man. I'd like to welcome you all here today for this service to commemorate, to honour and to give thanks for the life of Stephen Mulligan. For those of you who are outside of the chapel and can't see the service, you're able to watch the service on your mobile phones. If you go to the Rullis Funerals website, you can watch the live stream of this service. And on that, I'd like to welcome all of those who are joining us via live stream today as well. There are many people that are stuck interstate, and we're glad that you can still be part of this service digitally as well, so our thoughts are with you also for today. Well, there are several reasons why we gather here today for this ceremony, but the most important of these is to celebrate Stephen's life. We'll do it in the way that he lived his life, and we'll remember the wonderful person that he was and the wonderful years that you were lucky to share with him. As we reflect on his life in this ceremony, we take the opportunity to recall all of the things that made him unique and special to each of you, and to share some of the stories and memories that you made with him along the way, and also to give thanks for those beautiful memories he's left behind with you. Later on in the service, I'm going to open up the microphone to anyone here who might like to come up and share something. So as those memories come to you throughout this ceremony, I'd encourage you to please take the opportunity when the time comes to come forward and share your memories and tributes. And of course, as much as there is to celebrate about Stephen's life today, your emotions are no doubt tempered with the sadness that comes with the fact that he has now left this world. His passing leaves a hole in the lives of all those he loved and cared for, and those who loved and cared for him. And it's only normal to be experiencing grief as you say a final farewell to him in a physical sense. We're reminded that grief comes to us all in many different ways and with varying intensity, and each of us react to it in our own way, some less obviously than others. And the grief that you're experiencing now comes as a result of that love that you had for Stephen. It's life's way of honouring the part that he played in your lives and the special times that you spent together. And your grief is simply a measure of that impact that Stephen had on your lives. Today's ceremony is an important part of the grieving process, but just as important are the days ahead when you should remember to continue to speak his name, to recall with you all those wonderful stories that you made with him along the way, because the comfort of those beautiful memories will help to heal the wounds that his passing leave as time marches on. It's the fact that our time on earth is so finite, which makes the times that we spend with loved ones and those memories we make so very special. And although we can no longer relive those times that have passed, we can always keep the warmth of their memory alive in our hearts as we remember Stephen and those times shared with him. Stephen touched so many lives along his journey over his 58 years, as evidenced by the amount of people here today to come and farewell and pay tribute to him. And those of you who are lucky enough to have known him will remember him as someone who loved life. He was a chilled out fellow and he was a bit of a larrikin. He had a good sense of humour and he was someone that everyone just loved. Nothing ever got in his way or slowed him down, and no matter what life threw at him, he always kept on going, took things in his stride and never gave up. He was always a very social man and loved to have a chat and to talk to anyone, and boy did he love to talk. His happy-go-lucky attitude and his friendly nature made people warm to him, and he loved spending time in the company of just about anyone and everyone, sharing a drink, a laugh or two, and no doubt a good chat. He had a few passions in life, and these included his love of trucks, obviously. He loved his footy and was an avid Dragon supporter, and he also loved to go out fishing, camping and crabbing, and he'd take any opportunity he got to throw a line in the water. He also had a great love for travel and often going off and exploring new places with his family, and he was always happy when he got behind the wheel of the truck and was heading off somewhere down the highway. As I mentioned, he loved to be on the road, but he was never happier than when he was at home with his family. They were the most important thing in his life, particularly his wife Teena, who he absolutely idolised. He cherished his daughters, Hollie, Sharnay and Jessie, along with his grandkids, and he was someone that they could always rely on to be there for them whenever they needed him. He played such a huge part in so many lives, not least those of the lives of his family, and he's left an everlasting impact on all of those people that he's come into contact with along life's journey. And although he's no longer physically here with us, his impact and influence will continue on through your lives in the days ahead as you reflect all of those wonderful idiosyncrasies and traits that made Stephen the wonderful man that he was. His legacy is in the way that he has enriched the lives of those he came into contact with. It's all of the goodness and love that he brought into the world and shared with those around him. And it's all of the wonderful memories that he's left behind with each of you. And although we mourn the fact that his life has now come to its end, we can be glad in the knowledge that he enjoyed all of the years that he had on this earth, although perhaps too short. He made the most of the gifts that he was given, but he is now free from the sickness. He's no longer struggling or suffering any of life's cares. His life's work is now done, and I'm sure we can say he's now resting in peace. We're going to hear a little bit more about Stephen's life now in the eulogy, which his family have lovingly written for today, and I'm going to share it with you now on their behalf. Stephen James Mulligan. Stephen was born on the 23rd of January 1963 in Coffs Harbour to James and Lillian. He was the younger sibling of 5, Deidre, Kevin, Bronwyn and Rhonda. They lived in Coffs until Stephen was 10 years old, when they lived here and they loved bike riding and getting into mischief with all the neighbours. When he moved to Tamworth, he formed many friendships and found an interest in many hobbies, which included ferreting, breeding finches, horse riding, and most of all playing golf, which he was pretty good at and ended up having a handicap of 12. He competed in Pony Club, which he used his own horse named Cheeky. During his involvement of Pony Club, he won lots of sashes and ribbons. Steve met Teena when he was 15. He actually met her through Darren, who's now deceased, which happened to be Teena's brother. They used to call each other up over the CB, and Stephen's nickname was Trouser Snake. I'll leave you to wonder how he got that nickname. In 1984, Steve and Teena decided to get married, and so on the 8th of September 1984, they were married. Then to the date, 1 year later, they had their first child. Their daughter Hollie was born. Then Sharnay was born on the 28th of October 1988, and there was last Jessie born on the 29th of January 1990. He started working for Steve Hooker, delivering beer. Some days he'd stop to have a beer at each stop, and so by the time that he got home, he was, needless to say, quite tipsy. He also did work for his father Jimmy at the Long Yard. Steve's time came to an end in Tamworth, and they decided to move to Coffs Harbour in 1997. Steve decided to start a family-owned removal company. They called it T&S Removals. I can remember a few times we got a phone call from him thinking he had enough fuel to get to the next servo, but no, they ran out and needed help again. You'd think that after a couple of times they would learn, but certainly not in this case. It happened a few more times, and the business became quite popular and busy, so they decided to buy a bigger truck and rename the business to Boambi Removals and Storage. They rented a shed in Wallace Avenue and used it as a storage unit. We had some good workers, which turned into good friends, and I would say they have amazing memories to tell also. Over the years of being a removalist, he got the travel bug. The family took a few overseas trips, but the one that we'll tell you about today is the China trip. They were a part of a group that would go on adventures, and every time they'd stop at a new destination, people would ask and stop him so they could take a selfie with him and rub his big Buddha belly. They were actually lining up as his big belly and his beard all had them amused. In 2009, it was the next big agenda for the family, which was grandchildren to start coming. He was thrilled to learn that his youngest was the first to make him Poppy. It is a grandson which made him super happy because he had someone he could now teach his fishing tips to. Then 2010 was a big year. His eldest daughter got married and he was able to give her away. But her husband always said that, "I'll be bringing her home in 10 years, which Hollie finds funny because he really did take her back as they lived away and then made the choice to move back to Coffs, where he was able to give her away again that year. But in 2010, his first daughter also gave him a granddaughter, and Pop fell in love as soon as he saw her. So now he had a grandson and a granddaughter. In total, he had 8 grandchildren. They were Kooper, Freya, Kaidyn, Taleah, Clover, Lincoln, Kahlani, and lastly, little Gracie. Not long after Stephen found out that he had cancer, Sharnay announced that she was pregnant with her first baby, and he was so excited about this. All his girls were mothers and had kids of their own. When little Gracie was born, Stephen spent a night at their house to keep them company and to help out. He gave Gracie the nickname Moo-Boo, and so she'll carry on that name so that she knows how much her poppy loved her. He loved driving trucks. He drove tippers, truck and dogs, but his favourite was driving the B-doubles for Lindsay's. He also loved camping, fishing and the outdoors adventures. He would get home from one trip and be planning the next no sooner. We could ramble on for hours about the memories, but I think it's time for someone else to come up and share their fond memories. And I'm going to read something that Kaidyn's written out. It's a poem that I'm reading on behalf of his mum and aunties. Realising that we all have to hold on to only memories of once was you. Missing your laugh, we will never again hear. That is the reality that fills me with so much fear. No more smile on your face, no more warmth of your embrace. The last hug, the last kiss, the last goodbye leaves me with one last wish. To have you, Dad, here today, never to leave your daughters this way. A father's touch, a daddy's kiss, a grieving daughters, you're greatly missed. Love you, Dad, your daughters, Hollie, Sharnay and Jessie. Another poem. There's another one on the back, Kaidyn, for me to read as well. Yeah? No worries. Thanks, Kaidyn. Well, I'm going to open up the microphone now to anyone who might want to come up and share something. Now's your opportunity to give us those memories and stories of Stephen. So if there's someone here who'd like to come up, please do so now.
Ooh. I'll piss that off.
Just for the live stream, people won't be able to hear through the
Oh, sorry. I don't want to say much, but all I want to say is, hey, hooroo. Hooroo. Hooroo, Stephen Mulligan.
As one word can say 1,000 things, I'm sure. If there's anyone else that would like to say something, if there's anyone else outside of the chapel that would like to come in, you're welcome to. Otherwise, we'll move on with our ceremony. We're going to take some time now to watch a slideshow and reflect on some of those memories and tributes that we've heard today. Listen to some of Stephen's favourite music. So watch some photos that have captured the special moments of his life. Just got someone coming in to share something.
Well, what can I say about Mulligan? He was the biggest pain in my ass I ever come across. But he was a good pain in my ass. Shared many a times, as everybody here has done. By the way, my name's Abe. You know, I'm the Kiwi that couldn't drive a truck and dog, so he reckons. But we had massive times together. We worked together, truck and dogging, and then we worked together with LBs. He used to put his little six-pack in, and I goes, mate, you're going to get busted, bro. He goes, nah, should be right. I'll have it before I go and have a bit of a nap for the next load the next day. He goes, oh, yeah. And then we would stop at the this coffee shop, and he bought a short black. I said, what is that, bro? He goes, that's a short black. I goes, the cup's bigger than you. Come on, mate. Hey? He was very witty. He was very out there. He was extremely. He had the most, and I'm not gay. Trust me. He had the most amazing eyes. That his eyes, he didn't have to smile. His eyes smiled for him. That was Mulligan. That was Steve. I've attended many funerals in my lifetime. But mate, you kicked my ass on this one, bro. Totally took me to another level, and I didn't even know how to respond. It's hard. Losing a good friend like Steve, and having the opportunity to hang with that guy. He had a big aura about himself. He wasn't big in stature or physically big, but what he had in here and what he had here was bigger than me. Was huge. So, you know, he's left me with a lot of good memories. I think I'm pretty staunch, you know, but he's the only bloke I know that's put a tear in my eye after he's out of here. I remember coming around home, I think you were there, Teena. I come around there and he told me he picked me up, and we went over there, had a beer, did his usual thing, you know. He's sitting there and he said to me at the table, he goes, what do you reckon, bro? And I goes, wow, what reckon about what, mate? And he goes, what do you reckon I should do? I should do what you do best. What? Live life. Do it the way you want to do it. But don't just pack up and fold up on me now, bro. You can't do that. Because we're only just starting out. Made a promise to him I'll call him once a week. And then the week I didn't call him, hell. You know, here's the result. But, bro, yeah, he come back from overseas, had this Buddha on his stomach, and he looked like a Buddha too, you know, starting to look like a Buddha. But I know there's just a lot of people there that have got fond memories of Stephen. And my fondest memory of Stephen is this. He said to me one day, you Kiwis can't drink. So one day after work, we stopped and we said, let's have a roadie. So we smashed six packs in half an hour. And he was gone. You know, he jumps in the truck and he fell out. And when he fell backwards, I caught him. I goes, this doesn't look good for you and I, bro. Really. You know, people might think we're gay truck drivers. But he goes, that's hard enough, you know. He had a beautiful aura. So, you know, don't be afraid to share your memories with everybody because he's worth it. He was worth it. And it's unbelievable that I meet people along the way in my journey. I met this fellow here, and I didn't even know that he knew the same bloke I know. So he's touched a lot of people, and everybody here. You know, you got to be grateful that you had that one time, that one moment in time with Steve. So to you, my brother, little man, my general, hey, you used to tell me that you're the best truck and dog driver around. Man, did you tell everybody about the one that took over? No, you didn't. Yeah, that was you, bro. Yeah. And then I went, mate, he can't be the best truck and dog driver in Australia if he's tipping over a trailer. So we have, he called me brother, he always called me brother. And he always said after every day, after every time we spoke, love you, bro. And I goes, love you too, bro. And he goes, choo-roo. I go, what the hell did you tell me, bro? What? Choo-a-roo. And he goes, oh, I went, oh, chur, bro. So I was trying to get him to say chur, you know, back there like we do in New Zealand. But he never folded on me. It was always choo-roo. You know. So, for you, Steve, I know. You got the brothers up there now, and there are truck and dog drivers up there, bro. They're going to show you up, Kat. So you better do the right thing, eh? And make us look at, eh? So, and you got your mate up there. You got everybody up there, bro. And you're leaving down a pretty good legacy here. So, you know, all I got to say is, goes like this. It's not even a saying. It's just na 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 na. Na 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 na, hey hey, goodbye. Love you, bro.
Steve was been my best mate. He took me under his wing. He was an angel. But when we went camping, done everything, 2 trips I went spent time with him, and I'll never forget. His son-in-law sitting right here. I could have killed both of them that night. I was a bit drunk, I'll admit that. I had no hope in hell. The big fella, we called him Shrek. He put me into bed. So then 2 mongrels went down and checked their fishing lines. And they come back. I was trying to sleep, and they threw this bloody eagle in their swag with me. I had slime all over me and everything. I couldn't do nothing, I couldn't throw a punch, but they just left me there. He was a true legend. And his next trip we went out, he made sure he took his recliner chair. And I said, what are you doing with that bloody recliner chair? He said, I want to sit on the riverbank there and watch you boys. Anyhow, he was a bit crook, so he went and slept in his truck. We'd run out of firewood like normal. I burn everything. I said to Shrek and Gav, I said, I'll burn it. But we didn't realise we were in total fire ban, but there was black smoke and everything going on. But I got the last trip with Steve out at sea, and I made his day, and I'll never forget it. To see that smile and impression on that bloke's face, get his final snapper, 7 kilo snapper, made my day. The smile on his face was phenomenal. Rest in peace, brother. Love you.
Yama, my name's Leroy Connors. I'm a friend of Steve and Teena's. I've had the privilege to know these people since Tamworth. But look, I just want to share about, just talk a little bit about what connection means to us. It's like I left my grandmother 28 years ago, and I go and work and live and work on properties, and you know, you meet people. And when I came here to Coffs Harbour, you know, I moved here in 2001, taught at Teena High and worked with these beautiful young ladies here. So that connection, you know, and that what we experience at home with my grandmother, there's that love and respect. And when you go away from your family and your safety network, and then you feel it over here, I felt that same love, Teena, and that respect in you and Steve. So I thank you, because I felt my grandmother's love when I met you fellas here 20 years ago, you know, and I'll never forget Les and Steve moving, me and my wife, Wendy's still my wife, sorry, we moved into our first house in 2001, bought a house, and guess who moved into it, moved us into the house? Steve and Les, you know, so, you know, I'll never forget. And then, you know, Teena's brother is married to my cousin, Sandy, so all the way from Tambeth. So it's connection. You know, we live in a society where everything's defined by, you know, certain ways. But, you know, I thank you for feeling that love. And, you know, my grandchildren will know his grandchildren. You know, the story's not going to stop. So you're going to meet my granny. I just became a pop 6 months ago. So it's that connection's not going to break, my brother. So that's the message I say to you, Steve. My brother, thank you for the deadly memories. Him and Les, they were moving this big TV cabinet. It was massive. Me and Les were moving it. Steve's standing back and he's just like, yeah, hurry up. And I like, man, fair dinkum. There was a massive big TV unit, and those connections and those memories I'll have, we will have forever. So you, my brother, you've done a good job. You've got beautiful grandchildren, you know, beautiful family. So, you know, it's what our old people put in us. You know, so thank you, Steve and Teena, your beautiful family. You've done a good job, brother. Thank you.
Well, thanks to everyone who came up and spoke, and just like to reiterate, I think the last part of the last tribute we heard there with that connection, and everyone's here today because of that connection that you've had with Stephen. It's beautiful that even though he's no longer a part of your lives, all of you have new friends, more family members, and so many more connections because of him being in your life. So that'll continue on and be part of his legacy as the years go on, which is a beautiful thing. As I said before, we're going to take some time now to watch a slideshow that's been put together and captured some of the special moments of Stephen's life. So I'll draw your attention to the screen as we watch the slideshow, and those of you, if you're watching on your phones outside, you'll see the slideshow as well.
When your legs don't work like they used to before, and I can't sweep you off of your feet, will your mouth still remember the taste of my love? Will your eyes still smile from your cheeks? Darling, I will be loving you till we're 70. And baby, my heart could still fall as hard at 23. And I'm thinking about how people fall in love in mysterious ways. Maybe just the touch of a hand. Well, me, I fall in love with you every single day. And I just wanna tell you I am. So honey, now take me into your loving arms. Kiss me under the light of 1,000 stars. Place your head on my beating heart. I'm thinking out loud, maybe we found love right where we are. When my hair's all but gone and my memory fades, and the crowds don't remember my name, when my hands don't play the strings the same way, I know you will still love me the same. 'Cause honey, your soul could never grow old, it's evergreen. Baby, your smile's forever in my mind and memory. I'm thinking about how people fall in love in mysterious ways. And maybe it's all part of a plan. kiss me under the light of 1,000 stars. Oh darling, place your head on my beating heart. I'm thinking out loud that maybe we found love right where we are. Well, maybe we found love right where we are. And we found love right where we are.
There's some great memories there. Certainly see how much he loved his family in those photos. I noticed one of those photos in there, he had a singlet on there that said, "Shut up and go fishing." And so appropriately, we've chosen a poem today called Gone Fishing. I'm going to share it with you now. I've finished life's chores assigned to me, so put me on a boat headed out to sea. Please send along my fishing pole, for I've been invited to the fishing hole, where every day is a day to fish, to fill your heart with every wish. Don't worry or feel sad for me. I'm fishing with the master of the sea. We will miss each other for a while, but you will come and bring your smile. That won't be long, and you will see, to we're together again, you and me. To all those that think of me, be happy as I go out to sea. And if others wonder why I'm missing, just tell them I've gone fishing. What a nice way to think of him. The smile on his face down by the ocean with the line in the water, hopefully getting lots of bites. Before we conclude the service in the chapel here, I'm just going to offer with you the Lord's Prayer. If you'd like to pray with me, please do feel comfortable as we do so. Pray together. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. Well, this brings us to the conclusion of our service here in the chapel, and we're now going to make our way outside and take Stephen to his final resting place in the cemetery. And as we leave the chapel, you're welcome to walk behind. The truck's going to lead the hearse with Stephen's coffin in, down the hill and then out to the cemetery. It's only a short walk, you're welcome to walk. If you're unable to walk, please make your way to your cars after this and follow us down in the car, and we'll continue the ceremony at the cemetery. And for those of you watching on the live stream, there will be a short break in the transmission, but the graveside part of the service will be added to the ceremony after it's concluded. So could I ask the pallbearers to make their way to the front of the chapel now, and for everyone else to please be upstanding.
He has seen
Sit down, Munchkin.
I just got whatever I wanted. I've given all of them one. We need Chris, we need Hollie. Why would you wear shoes like that? And all the ball corners. Wear big wide heels.
Oh, another roller ankle.
Folks, you're welcome to come in a bit closer if you like, as we gather around here. Sharnay's just going to come up and read the poem for us.
For our dad, is that him? Can they hear me? For our dad, a father's touch, a daddy's kiss, as grieving daughters you're greatly missed. An empty house, an empty chair, a father's love no longer there. A broken heart, tears, tear-filled eye, another soul to fill the sky. Many memories in my mind, some I laugh, some I cry. The times we shared, the laughs we had, things we miss when we think of you, Dad. Realising that's all we have to hold on to, only memories of once was you. Missing your laugh, we will never again hear. That is the reality that fills me with so much fear. No more smile on your face, no more warmth of your embrace. The last hug, the last kiss, the last goodbye leaves me with one last wish. To have you, Dad, here today, never to leave your daughters this way. A father's touch, a daddy's kiss, as grieving daughters you're greatly missed. We love you, Dad. Love all of us girls.
I'm sure I'd be so proud of them to get up here and speak in front of everyone here today. It's a beautiful tribute. We now come to the time of committal, where we say a final farewell to Stephen as we entrust his body to the ground and his spirit to the next part of his journey. As we lay Stephen to rest here today, we reunite him with his parents, whom he loved so much, and their ashes, part of their ashes are in the coffin with him to be buried here today as well, so they'll always be together. And so as we say goodbye today to Stephen, we give thanks for all of the wonderful time spent with him. We're grateful for all the love that he gave to his family and friends, and for the positive impact that he had on the lives of those he came into contact with along his journey. We're grateful for the joy he found in watching footy, and for his loyal support of the Dragons, for his love of crabbing and fishing or exploring the country while off camping with his family, and for the happy hours that he spent behind the wheel of his truck cruising the open road. We give thanks for his great sense of humour, for his warm and friendly nature and the effect that he had on people, for his easygoing and happy-go-lucky attitude towards life, and for his courage and determination and his ability to carry on when things got tough. We're grateful for his social personality and his love of spending time in the company of family and friends, enjoying a drink and a laugh and, of course, a good chat. And most of all, we give thanks for all of the care and support that he gave to his family, for him always being there and for all the love that he brought to the lives of those closest to him as a treasured family member and friend to many, and for the beautiful memories that he has left behind. Stephen, with our love, we now release you to the next part of your journey as we commit your body to be buried in the ground. Earth to earth, ashes to ashes, and dust to dust. May your body be returned to the elements from which it was made, and your spirit live on in the hearts of those who love you. We release you now to be free from the bonds of this life. We wish you sweet sleep, plenty of bites on your line, and everlasting happiness as you travel along that eternal highway, and that you may now rest in peace. And as we conclude our ceremony here today, I'd like to take the opportunity to thank all of you for being here today to make this wonderful tribute to a beautiful man, and for all of the tributes that we heard today, and also to those joining us on live stream. Thank you for being here with us today under these difficult circumstances. Following the service, you're invited to join Stephen's family back at the Sawtell RSL to share some more of those memories, a few laughs, and of course, no doubt, a good chat and a drink in his memory. So I'd like to invite you all back there after this service. And as you leave here today, may I remind you that someone only truly dies when we speak their name for the very last time. And so long as you continue to speak Stephen's name, to recall all of those happy times that you spent with him over the years, you'll keep the warmth of his spirit in your hearts and his memory alive for the years to come. We're going to conclude our ceremony with one last beautiful song, and as the song plays, you're welcome to come up after the family and take some rose petals and place them on Stephen's coffin in your way of saying your own final farewells to him. The family are going to come up first and place their gerbras and say their goodbyes.
Tell me, what does it look like in heaven? Is it peaceful? Is it free like they say? Does the sun shine bright forever? Have your fears and your pain gone away? 'Cause here on earth it feels like everything good is missing since you left. And here on earth everything's different. There's an emptiness. Oh, I hope you're dancing in the sky, and I hope you're singing in the angels' choir, and I hope the angels know what they have. I bet it's so nice up in heaven since you arrived. So tell me, what do you do in heaven? Are your days filled with love and light? Is there music? Is there art and invention? Tell me, are you happy? Are you more alive? 'Cause here on earth it feels like everything good is missing since you left. And here on earth everything's different. There's an emptiness. Oh, I hope you're dancing in the sky, and I hope you're singing in the angels' choir, and I hope the
Don't come back in a hurry, eh? I'll have to do it again.